Hello everyone, welcome to Twisted Serenity with Mimi. Thanks for clicking on my channel. Today I will be showing you how I created some high-end farmhouse decor using Dollar Tree and some Dollar General items. I'm so excited to show you guys these, so let's just get started. Okay, so for our first one, we are going to make a farm animal sign. So I just took out the twine that was on there, the hanger that was on there, and I filled our holes using some wood putty. Once it was dried, I sanded it down. Once that was done, I gave it 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint in the color white. I did the sides and the back. I don't know why I did the back, but do paint the sides of the wood round. Once it was all dried up, I took my ruler just to make some signs across the board all the way down. I wanted to make it look shiplap. I did do it with my pencil, but we are going to go over it with permanent black marker. Now, I was a little intimidated doing it with a black marker, because even with a ruler and having those lines out there, I do not have the steadiest hand. Some of the lines are darker than others, but I did that on purpose because shiplap lines are not all equal. Now, these little signs I've been having for about a year that I picked up from Dollar General. I have the cow, the chicken, and the pig. So I just turned it around, and the only thing that we're going to use are the animals. So I just removed it from the staples. Once I removed all of them from the staples, I sanded down the wording that was on it. I did not want the wording on it because we are going to paint over them. And yes, that is my 1-year-old in the back. Sorry, life of a single mom. But anyways, moving on. Once we had them sanded down, I save you guys the torture of watching me paint them just in white, because that is our base coat. Once they were all dried up, I took Waverly chalk paint in the color elephant and I painted over them. Now, when I painted over them, I didn't give the animals a complete coverage with the elephant paint. I let that white chalk paint pop through. I wanted them to have like that distressed look on them. Paint the outside of them as well, because we are going to put these little animals on our little wood round. Okay, now while we're letting the little animals dry, we go back to our wood round and we're just grabbing some elephant chalk paint and we are going to distress our board. You don't have to do the distressing. Obviously, I love the distressing. You could just leave it in the plain white or whatever color you choose to do it. But I just distress the majority of our sign with the elephant, but I do go in with Waverly wax and teak wax, and I do distress a little bit over the board as well. Now, once we have that all done, I grabbed the animals when they were dried up and I just sanded it a little bit more down just for that little bit of white to pop through, and I did it for all 3 of the animals. Now, once that was done, everything was all done and it was time to assemble our sign. I took our little animals and I just placed them on the board where I wanted them, and then I hot glued them down. What I love about these little animals is like they were meant to be stacked on top of each other. They just had like that perfect little fit to them. Now for our last and final step, I got this adorable little buffalo or gingham check ribbon from Dollar Tree. I just cut a piece down to size. I hot glue it and I put some masking tape over it for that extra strength hold. And that's it. Our little hanger and our little sign is done. Okay, so I had this little vase, this little jar, and it had a crack in it. I was still going to use it. I was not going to throw it away. And then I have a candlestick from Dollar Tree. I painted both of them with 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint in white. We are going to make like a little candlestick pillar vase type thing. I don't even know what it's called, if I'm even making sense right now. But once they were all painted white and dried up, I took my Waverly chalk paint in the color ink with a paintbrush, and this is all at random, and I just started to make lines on all those little creases of the vase. You will see in some spots I went dark in with the paint, and some spots I went light. This is all preference. It's up to you. You could paint it any color you want. You could do Waverly chalk paint antique wax. That would look nice. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. And then I just took my little makeup sponge brush and I just made the rim like enamel look, and I did the bottom rim as well. And I'm going to do the same thing to the candlestick. And I was going to leave it at every other, but I didn't like the way that it looked. So I'm just going in and all the other creases, and I'm just doing like little spots here and there. I didn't want it to be like completely like, you know, just spots down, looking like a zebra type thing. So I wanted to give some spots like a darker look and some spots like a distressed look. And some of them I feel like I didn't do it intentionally, but it looks like an ombre. It goes from dark to light. As you can see, I take a little bit of paint on the paintbrush, and then I dab it on, and I just do like a swooshing motion back and forth, and I do the same thing with the candlestick. I mean, I probably dabbed it like once or twice, and that has more like of a grayer tones with a little bit black inside of it. Now, once I had it all, both of my pieces painted and dried, I took super glue gel from Dollar Tree, and I took my hot glue and I attached my jar to my candlestick. I lost the footage. Once I attached it, I went in with the antique wax and just added like a little couple spots of antique wax on it. Now once that's all done, add some greenery or whatever you like inside there, and that is it. How beautiful did this piece come out. So I picked up these 2 wood garden stakes for $1 each at Dollar General. So I cut them down, and I cut 2 pieces into 18 inches, and roughly around 18 inches, and 3 little pieces roughly around 6 inches. We are going to make a little tea towel ladder. So I assembled my pieces how I wanted them to fit on my little ladder, and then I used my wood glue and my hot glue, and I started attaching my pieces. Now, I used my ruler to just roughly like measure how far down I wanted it, but I never get nothing really precise. So if you're very anal and very like OCD when it comes to that, make sure you do it the right way. Not like me. I just kind of like eyeball and act like I'm really measuring stuff when I really don't. So I have done tea towel ladders, and I did them all one tone, one color before, but I wanted this to be 2 different colors. So I put masking tape roughly around the middle, and I started painting the top with Waverly chalk paint and antique wax. And I wanted it to be a little bit darker than the stain look, so I did go a little bit heavier, and then I took my baby wipe and wiped a little bit of the excess off, but then repainted it again. So once I did my antique wax, I peeled off the tape that was from there, and now I'm attaching masking tape basically where the antique wax is at, because now I'm going to go in with the Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster and paint my bottom half of my little mini ladder. Make sure you paint the sides and the back, and once you have it all painted, it's all done. How cute. So I have this wire, and I believe it's some type of floral wire or bead wire, and I just took my wood beads in different sizes, and I just started to basically string them onto the wire, just as if you were making a beaded garland. So I took 2 of the 20 milliliter ones, and then the other sizes were 12 and 10. So I did, I believe it was 6 of the 12, and then 2 of the 20, and then 4 of the 10 and then 2 of the 20. So once I have both pieces clipped, I'm going to start shaping it into a circle. Now I did 3 of these. Now once I have it shaped into a circle, I'm taking both ends of the wire and I'm basically pushing them into each side of the bead, if that makes sense. You can kind of see what I'm doing there. Once I have them both pushed into each side of their beads, I take some hot glue and I fill in the bead and basically hold the bead together to hold the wire into place to keep the shape of the circle. Like I said, I made 3 of these, and I'm not going to put you guys through the torture of watching me string all these beads onto 3 rings. So once I had them all done, I took antique wax and I basically dry brushed all over the beads. And that was the first coat of paint on top of it, but I wanted it to look a little bit more distressed. So then I took Waverly chalk paint in the color white and I went over the antique wax with the white chalk paint. Okay, so now we got all our 3 pieces done, and that one was stuck in there like that, so when I had put them down, so I just left it. And basically you put one ring into the other. We're gonna make an orb. So I just used the little beads on top and I just hot glued it into the beads at the other ring on the bottom of it, and I just stretched out the wire. And now I took our 3rd ring and I basically pushed it inside the 2 rings that we had. I know I'm rambling. You can see what I'm doing. In my head I'm making sense, but I know when I'm saying it I'm not making sense at all. Now basically I just play with the wiring and stretch it out to form the right way, and that is it. Our orb is done. A little piece of farmhouse decor. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And turn on that bell notification to be notified when I post my next video. And always, always, always remember, this world could throw you twists and turns, but always make good choices. Till the next one, you guys.